In this video, I'm going to show you how dogs communicate who's in charge and who's going to be submissive. And sometimes it's so subtle, but when you catch it on a camera and you can slow it right down, you can see exactly what the dogs are communicating. It's really quite fascinating. So this is good. That's great. Lovely. So this is the Odin. He's a 1-year-old male Mastiff cross German Shepherd, and this is his garden. And yet, look how he's meeting my 3 dogs. So if you ever wanted to see what a submissive dog looks like, I mean, look at him. He's just the most beautiful boy. Oh, what a lovely dog. And that's my little girl telling him off. So Inca will absolutely adore him. But Moses will as well. They'll all love him. So he's just letting us sniff. Very good. Beautiful boy. So because he's kind of clocked in so clearly as a follower, he's going to be, I mean, look at that tail. Even there, look at my dog's tail, confident. And there he is, whooping with joy, jumping up with delight. Lovely boy. So because he's clocked in so clearly as a follower rather than a leader with my dogs, he's going to be, you know, he's going to have a great old time. I think these two are going to play pretty rough, tough once they get going. So we'll see. There we go. That's the bounce. So that's Moses' introduction to play, and there you go. It's all on. It's all on. So most of the communication has been very obvious so far, but this bit here, which I'm just replaying, was far more subtle. How did the dogs communicate that they wanted to play? And we're going to have a look at this now again. So here it is in slow-mo. Moses comes in, goes over the top. He put his head over the top of Odin's. And again, it was so quick. It's very hard to see. So I'm going to slow it right down so you can see what's actually happening. Here he is. He comes in. Watch Moses, my dog. He puts his head over the top there. And I'll actually freeze it just so you can see how obvious it is in slow-mo. That's Odin. Backing off, bending, turning his head down, almost showing his throat in a submissive way. That's when Moses says, okay, you blow me in the pack, I'm happy with that, let's play, let's get it on. You see how subtle the signs are. It's like he's clocked in as, so it's almost like, I think dogs play much better almost when they've sorted out that very clearly, who's in charge and who's not. So these two have sorted that out very clearly. I'm getting run into now. So it's kind of like, it's very clear, the rules are going to be very clear as to who really is in charge out of these two and who's so even when they're playing, you know, they'll probably take it in turns. Moses will take it in turns to be on the bottom, but that's only just part of the game, taking turns of who's dominant and who's submissive, because really there's only one submissive dog out of the two of these two, and it's not Moses. Dogs will do this backward spin movement when they're trying to entice another dog to play. So if you ever see this happen, you can bet your bottom dollar that the dog is friendly and just wants to play. That's that backward twirl, which is just so beautiful. Lovely. So Moses is just over a year old now. On the video website, I've got Moses' video from 8 weeks old, 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old. All these videos of him. If at the park he is following you and spending the whole time trying to protect you, sort of thing, a lot of that again is because he's got this job to do of looking after you and protecting you. Okay. And so when you put all this in place and he can actually relax a bit more, he will have so much more fun. Okay. I think it's often a bit like the CEO of a company. You know, you don't find them fooling around on a Friday afternoon at kind of 1 o'clock. Well, maybe you do in some companies, but generally speaking, the CEOs have got so much on their plate. They're so busy and stressed with the pressure that they're under that they can't just muck around, and it's other people who are mucking around more. So whilst all this is going on, I've discovered that dear Odin, the big brown dog here, is part Corgi, part Spaniel and part Dalmatian. He's had a DNA test done, And yeah, that's where he's come from. And he's also got webbed feet, and he's an amazing swimmer. You can do laps around the other dogs whilst they're swimming in the water. But anyway, just look at how the intensity's picked up now. And all of this is because they've had a really good start. They've really clearly understood Moses is in charge, and Odin's underneath him. And so Moses is very happy with that, and Odin is also very happy. He's got a real good playmate here. And most of the time, Moses is probably going to dominate, but as you're going to see in a second, and I mentioned earlier, Moses will then start playing a role, playing the game of being submissive. So here we go. There's Odin being submissive, and then they'll take turns and change over. And in case you're wondering, all of this mouthing is all totally normal, totally acceptable. There you go. That's what I was looking for. So that's him now dominating Moses. But there's nothing in it. That's just playing. So they're both being very gentle here, and it's just like role play. They're just taking turns and being submissive, being dominant, having a bit of fun. It's all great stuff. Role play. Let's switch roles. Moses will do it again. There you go. I told you. Just because it's fun. You don't want to be in charge all the time. It's like I work with some guys, it's so funny, they boss a big team of people around all day long, and then they come back to their little white fluffy dog and all they want to do is be submissive. You know, it's true though, we don't want to be in charge all the time, you know. So as you can see, Odin is clocked in as a submissive follower. That's how it works with the dogs. They're leaders or followers. There's a hierarchy, and it works really well like that. And Odin has played his part to perfection. Well done, boy. It's going to tire him out. You won't need to take him to the park. Isn't that lovely though? You see, and so you can see how, because he's been so clearly Tinky. So here, let's rewatch this. This is Inca just sticking her nose in when she really didn't have to. The boys are playing very happily, and she comes across here and she just gives him a little telling off there. There's not really any need. If we slow it down, you can see she's not biting him, but he's sort of come across her space. But that was unacceptable. That's her being a grumpy auntie and trying to get involved when she didn't have to. That's not allowed. So you sit down. Stay. That's naughty. Stay. Naughty dog. That is naughty behaviour. Stay. Inca, sit. Stay. You stay there. Naughty dog. So Inca's in timeout for being a naughty girl. Another way of disciplining your dog when you have a bit of control. You put them on sit, stay. Because there was no need for that, because that's just her sticking her nose in, you know. We do it as humans sometimes. When you're not involved and you want to get involved, you can just stick your big oar in. These two boys were playing beautifully. So she's in timeout, and we'll see if that works. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Do you know what you did? You know it was naughty? What did you say? Sorry. Okay. What a lovely boy. So this is pretty much how it ended up, and as you can see, they ended up having an absolute whale of a time. These two played until they were absolutely exhausted. It started with dear Odin being so submissive, you know, rolling on his back, and then there was those very subtle signs of Moses putting his head over, something which you don't usually see because it happens so quickly sometimes. And then they got into their role play of Moses lying on his back, pretending to be submissive, but really, you know, they've already decided who's in charge and who's not. So the rest of that is just a role play. It's just a game. When Moses lies on his back, it doesn't really mean he's submissive. It's a game. They're just playing at it. And as you can see now, they're doing exactly that. So that's how dogs like it to be. They like it to be very clear who's in charge, who's the pack leader, and that's what you need for your dog. You need to understand that dogs need pack leaders. You don't want your dog being the pack leader, and you've got to understand how to show them in a kind and gentle way that, yep, you are indeed in charge.